Dear Mr. President, the nationwide demonstrations and the civil disobedience is not about Raila. Your enemy is not Raila. I'm pretty sure you know your enemies and you just are too blind to see, or you do not want to listen so that you can hear who exactly is your enemy. Since they're not telling you, I think I'll be able to tell you today. Your enemy is not Raila Odinga. Your enemy is not Azimio. Your enemy is not Kalonzo Musyoka. Your enemy is not Martha Karua. Your enemy is the people around you. One, your enemy is your frequent lies. Your enemy, the biggest of them all, are Kenyans. The Kenyans that you made promises to, promises that you have not delivered, promises that do not look like they'll be a reality anytime soon, and they are going through so much and they cannot sit down and watch as you just do what you want and what you like without listening to them. At the moment, you can blame Raila Odinga for the nationwide civil disobedience. You can blame him for everything that you feel is right for you to blame him. But soon enough, you will be blaming yourself for not listening to Kenyans. At the moment, you are blaming Raila that he is the cause of the violence, he is the cause of everything that is happening at the moment. But you're forgetting that it's Kenyans who are on the streets, who are trying to make you listen to what they're going through. But I think your cronies or the people who are close to you are too loud for you to hear even the voices of the common Kenyans, which is not something the president should do. You see, in the previous government, you always said you did not have any power, you did not have anything that you could do because you were just a deputy president. You kept blaming the president, but right now, you're blaming Raila Odinga. But you are the president and the buck stops with you. Mr. President, it is not about Raila. It's about Kenyans, and you need to take Kenyans seriously. Your government has made so many promises to Kenyans. You said you lower the cost of living. You said school fees will be manageable. People will be able to go to school. You made so many promises. But at the moment, the cost of living is too high. The price of sugar is up. The price of fuel is up. The price of food products is going up every day. Even salt. The price of salt has gone up. And you, Mr. President, still think that is because of Raila? Kenyans are out here because they want you to listen to them. When you are campaigning for the Finance Bill 2023, you are pushing for it and told Kenyans that it will pass whether they like it or not. And you have to know that right now, you passed the bill, you signed it, it's an act, but the court suspended it. But what did your cronies do? They started blaming the judiciary for suspending the act. You keep telling Kenyans that they should not demonstrate on the streets. They should not fight you in the streets, but fight in the courts. But what is a Kenyan supposed to do when you, Mr. President, have allowed your foot soldiers to attack the judiciary for doing their work? The judiciary has been the arm of the government that has been life-saving Kenya as an entity. Parliament has been bought. One of the MPs said they go and have soup in the parliament canteen with some of the members of parliament. When we are passing the finance bill, you passed it overwhelmingly. You have captured parliament and nothing that is pro-citizen can be able to pass in parliament. So right now, the hopes of Kenyans have been in the judiciary. But when your foot soldiers attack the judiciary, what are Kenyans supposed to do? Where will they have hope from? There is nothing as bad as a man who has lost hope. And that is what your government is taking away from Kenyans. Hope for a better future. When you see people like Senator Kiprotich attacking the judiciary, calling the judiciary names and even telling the judiciary to look for where they'll get a budget for suspending the Finance Act 2023, yet it is the taxpayers who pay that money and even pay his salary, then you make Kenyans angrier. I've seen many raise concerns that Kenyans were destroying the expressway. I prefer to call it the rich way, the rich man's way. Yeah? Because if you look at the expressway, there are some Kenyans who believe actually they'll never use it. And that is why they're feeling that their taxes are being spent on something that they'll not benefit from. And that is why they are channeling their anger in some of these things. Mr. President, you cannot now be trusted because you don't tell the truth. You have been saying too much lies, from 300 shillings gas to the other day you said you'll reduce the cost of unga. But it's not happening. Many Kenyans have lost faith. But the only thing that you can do is chest thump and make them feel like you're becoming a dictator. And there is nothing as bad as Kenyans feeling that they're getting an impression of the Nyayo era. It is like PTSD to them. They will always stand and fight back. So, Mr. President, it is not at all about Raila Odinga. It is not about Azimio. It is about Kenyans. Listen to what Kenyans are saying. What will happen if another nationwide civil disobedience or demonstration happens and probably Raila Odinga is outside the country? Whom will you blame? Who will take the fall for that? It's time, Mr. President, you learned how to listen to Kenyans. Listen to what they're telling you. They're telling you they cannot put food on the table. They're telling you their children cannot go to school. School fees has gone up. Food, the cost of food is high. The general cost of living is high. So you need and you have to listen to the Kenyans. Your deputy president the other day was at a graduation and he was telling the graduates that there is no jobs even if they are graduating. Mr. President, how would you feel if someone went to the wedding of your son or your daughter and said, even if you are getting married, you're not going to have kids? How would you feel? Or even if you're going to get married, you're going to break up tomorrow or the other day. You are supposed to inspire hope. Your deputy is also supposed to inspire young people. But you're not inspiring them at all. I believe you have, and you have no option but to listen to what Kenyans are saying. You need to start living to your word. You have been moving from one country to the other at the expense of the taxpayer. Yet, in the country, you tell us that there are empty coffers. So much money is being spent in so many meaningless things. You have gone to Comoros. You have gone to wherever you have gone. You have even given scholarships, 100 scholarships to the people of Comoros to come and study in Kenya. But can Kenyans even afford school fees? They can't. I'm still waiting for the scholarships from the Arizona University that people are doing. How far are you guys doing? I haven't seen anyone who's told me, oh, I've completed my course. So, Mr. President, it is not about Raila. The enemy is Kenyans. And Kenyans are tired. And they're trying to get you to listen. But the noise of the people who surround you has blocked you from hearing the voices of Kenyans. There are no jobs in Kenya. And even if Kenyans want to go outside the country to try and get jobs from there, they can't. Because the printer that prints passports broke down. And they're incapable of getting the passports. And to some extent, they have to bribe to even get those passports. Mr. President, the problem is not Raila Odinga. The enemy is not Raila Odinga. The enemy is your lives. The enemy is your government not living up to what you say, Mr. President. So, this is just me saying and voicing what Kenyans out here think, because there are so many things that Kenyans are facing out here. You have been talking about unemployed Kenyans paying 1,000 shillings towards NHIF. But at the same time, when these same Kenyans take these NHIF cards to hospitals, they are told, the hospitals tell them that they are only taking NHIF for civil servants. What is that supposed to benefit these Kenyans? Mr. President, if you have ears, you'll listen. If you can't listen, let someone else tell you what I've tried to put across to you. Otherwise, music is only interesting if played to a good audience. But if what I've said is music directed to gods, then I believe, Mr. President, a time will come when you'll wish that you'd listen to Kenyans. It is better for you to sit down, listen to the Kenyans and their grievances, rather than always claiming that every grievance raised is because Raila lost an election. That is not the case. If you can listen, take this as advice. If not, then maybe one day you'll sit down and think about, what if I would have listened to the Kenyans? Otherwise, may God bless you, and I wish you well in your endeavors. Thank you.